Whew, man, it's getting cold. Oh, hey everyone. Well, I took a little shore leave after my rehearsal, so this is going to be another review. And I know Halloween is over, but I still like to keep the thing going until December. So I got something I really wanted to review. I watched it during Halloween, and I was so shocked about it, I didn't think about reviewing it. And this one is a movie, a slasher movie, and it involves a camp. And it's not Friday the 13th. I already got that covered, so forget about Friday the 13th, because this movie blew Friday the 13th out of the water. Also making the geese want to leave. Now, there was... the first time I got myself interested in that movie for me to watch, it was that scene I watched in that show called Robot Chicken. Yeah, that's right, I watched Robot Chicken. Some of them is a little uncomfortable, but the rest is really good. And, the movie I'm going to review for you today is none other than Sleepaway Camp. Now, some of you may not heard about this movie, and some of you probably have seen it, but it's been so long. But what got me in to watch this movie, it was that scene on Robot Chicken. When they were showing the clip, and, well, they spoiled the ending, but I'm going to tell it to you anyway, so who cares? Anyway, during that scene, I heard somebody just popped up and said, "Oh God, somebody remember this movie and make a parody out of it!" Well, I can't make a parody, but I can make a review. Now, Sleepaway Camp, this was really different. It was made back in 1983. And in the story, it began, you see a group of teenagers who are jet skiing. And of course, there's one girl hitting on the lifeguard who's operating the jet boat, while the other teen is getting really scared, you know, doing all the skiing and such. And then there was this, those two little kids named Peter and Angela. And their father, they're on the sailboat. And they decided to give him a bit of a scare by pushing him off the sailboat, and he fell off, but he also took the tipped the sailboat over, so now it's upside down, and so are the kids. Sadly, the girl who was with the lifeguard on the jet boat, she wasn't paying any attention, sadly. Because the girl who was doing the skiing, she kept telling them to turn the boat around, look out, right in front of you. And then when the lifeguard says, "Oh geez, turn the ship around!" And then, bam. The father gets killed, the jet boat hit the kids and the father. One survived. The father's dead, but the kids, one of them survived. And then a couple of years later, there was this woman who goes by the name of Aunt Martha. Now, her daughter Angela, so it must be Angela who's the survivor, her and her cousin Ricky decided to get themselves ready to go camping, because they're going to a summer camp. Yeah, I know, I should have reviewed this during summer, but got a lot on my mind. Anyway, this girl here, Angela, she's kind of the creepy type. She pretty much bugs people a lot. I mean, she really bugs them because she doesn't talk to them. She just sits there and stares at them. And of course, Ricky's best friend named Paul showed up. He's a nice kid. But he also told Ricky about the girl named Jody. she went through puberty, so now she's growing breasts. And they're supposed to be like, I guess, maybe 14 or 15. Oh, no, they were 16. Yeah. Angela's 16, and so is the others. Anyway, Jody gone through puberty, and she's been dating with older guys. But it turns out that things doesn't go well during camp. Ricky gets picked on by this teenager who goes by the name of Kenny. Now, this one thing I gotta say about this movie, it does shock me the most. One of the fry cooks, one of the chef in the camp, he kept on staring at the kids. I know what pops in your head. Pedophilia. He was staring at the kids like they're, like he's on a smorgasbord. Anyway. One of the bird passing by. Anyway. Sadly, Artie gets killed. Because he was about ready to hit on Angela, and Ricky stopped him, and Artie says, "You keep your mouth shut." And then when he was trying to cook a big pot and trying to put in the corn, he slipped. Somebody grabbed his chair and he toppled over and grabbed the pot and got scalded. 3rd-degree burns. That's agonizing. Anyway, there's this old man named Mel. He's been hitting on one of the teenagers who's a counselor named Meg. Yeah, she's one of the counselors. And of course, there's another counselor who always keeps walking around in short shorts. Red short shorts. And he's all beefed up. But he's a good guy. And there's also a cop named Rudy. Or Rooney. Rooney, that's his name. Rooney. But there's a little something kind of funny about him, because in the early scene in the movies he has a mustache, and then in the later scenes you start noticing that he took some kind of Sharpie or black grease paint and just drew a mustache, because he must have shaved his face without even knowing that they're still filming and they need him. There's a little humor into it. A little, not a lot. Anyway, and another thing that was kind of shocking, it also got into homosexuality, because Angela remembered about her and her brother Peter, who saw their dad in bed with another guy. Boy. Anyway, and the movie was made in the 80s, because you see a lot of boys wearing short shorts. And, of course, really short shirts, you can see their belly button. I gotta say, the 80s, man, what the heck were they thinking in that, and declared that as a style? Short shorts and really short shirts? 80s. I was born in 85, and I never wore stuff like that. Not my style. Anyway, Kenny the bully, he gets drowned, and then the next day they found him with a snake coming out of his mouth. Ugh. Meg, even though she's one of the girls' counselors, she acts like a total witch, and she sides with Judy, because Judy has a problem with Angela because she doesn't talk, and she doesn't go out to play sports with the other girls. She'd rather sit down and, keep things to herself. But every time when Meg every time Meg always keep on doing something upsetting, it just makes me want to say this. Shut up, Meg. Hey, I'm Peter Griffin. I love that drink. Shut up, Meg. Sorry, got a little bit of Family Guy in me. And then there was this one, and then all of a sudden there was this one boy who went to the bathroom, and somebody just tossed a bee's nest over to the window, and the bees start attacking the guy. Bees. My God. I'm Batman. The heck just happened? Did I turn into Batman all of a sudden? Oh well. Guess doing a reference of the, when Amazons attack, I guess. Anyway, the killer starts tossing the bee's nest over, and it starts killing one of the counselors in the bathroom. Hey, here's a better sound for that scene. Oh, not the bees! Not the bees! Ah! Ah, my eyes! My eyes! Ah! Sorry, I like to give the reference of that movie. Even though I hate Wicker Man, but that scene was memorable. Anyway, back to the scene here. There is this head counselor named Mel, who's been hitting on Meg, and Meg's been hitting on him. He starts thinking it's Ricky doing all the killings. And he keeps bothering Ricky, even though Ricky's innocent. And then that one scene where Meg decided to take a shower, the killer sneaks into the bathroom and stabs her in the back through the shower wall. Although it's made out of aluminum, so how did a butcher knife went right through the shower wall? Anyway, she gets stabbed in the back really bad, and when Mel found her body, he still thinks it's Ricky. So he found him and starts beating him up. He almost beat him to death, but he was still alive. But as he found the killer itself, he was like, "No, it can't be." And then, whoosh, arrow to the throat. Anyway, Angela walked to Paul. Oh yeah, I also forgot Jody. Jody been messing with Angela for the last time. So, the killer sneaks into to Jody's room. And then when she said, "What the heck do you want?" And then she got socked in the face, got punched in the face. Man would say, "Hey, let me get a whack at her." Anyway, but here's the shocker. The killer put after she was out, the killer put a pillar over her head, grabbed her curling iron, and it doesn't show. It doesn't show, but it's pretty much hinting where the curling iron went at and died from it. Ugh, that's awful. And then in the next scene, Angela walked to Paul, and Paul being a nice guy, and she was the only guy that she can talk to besides her cousin Ricky. And then Angela talked to Paul, and she asked him would he likes to go skinny dipping with him. And he was like, "Are you sure about this?" And she was like, "Yeah, I'm ready." And they're about ready to take off their clothes. Well, at the same time, most of the counselors starts finding the bodies. Oh yeah, and even one of the counselors, he was doing like sort of a camp out with a bunch of kids in her sleeping bags. But as that one counselor walked back, all the kids were axed to death. Just. Anyway, the one with the red short shorts and Rooney the cop, they were looking around trying to find out where they found Ricky barely alive. And then when they were about ready to find Angela, they did find Angela. She was petting Paul's head until she got up, and it turns out Paul is dead. Angela was the killer. And then here was the huge backstory in the scene. Turns out that Peter survived, And Aunt Martha, she really doesn't want a son. She has so many boys, so all she wants was a girl. So it kind of shows that Aunt Martha, she's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And instead of calling him Peter, he decided to call him Angela. So as it turns out, she keeps forcing Peter to become Angela. Wearing girls' dresses, act more like a girl instead of a boy. And then the biggest shocker and the spoilers on the ending, turns out that Angela was Peter. And one way to show it, Angela stood there completely naked, going like this. And it showed a male private between Angela's legs. Now, of course, I heard they use a body double and they sculpted a private part in front of the fake Angela, while the body double was wearing a mask. But on close-up, it's Angela herself. Now, I don't know about you, but I gotta say, Sleepaway Camp was pretty good. I mean, it was shocking, suspenseful. It was nothing like Friday the 13th. Heck, this movie blew Sleepaway Camp out of the water. And one thing I really liked the most is the actress who played Angela, and it's none other than Felissa Rose. Now, I looked her up after I saw Sleepaway Camp, and one thing I gotta say about her, dang, she's hot. I mean, I liked her performance on Sleepaway Camp. I've seen her in a lot of documentaries and other videos I've seen her in. And I gotta say, she's one red-hot mama. So, Felissa, if you're watching this, call me. But after Sleepaway Camp became a huge cult classic, I mean, it didn't hit well in the box office, but it became a cult classic, that they decided to make a sequel. So, the sequel they made is, of course, back in 1988, Sleepaway Camp 2, Unhappy Camper. Except this time they have recast the character. So Angela is not playing. So Felissa is not playing Angela in the sequel, but Pamela Springsteen. You know Pamela Springsteen. She's the sister of Bruce Springsteen, the rock and roll singer. And of course, I also heard in this sequel of Sleepaway Camp 2, there's a character named Molly, played by Rianne Estevez, Emilio Estevez and Charlie Sheen's sister. Boy, every time I think it's Charlie Sheen, I'm thinking like this. I've been taking 7 gram rocks, that's how I roll. I'm winning. I have 1 gear. Go. Epic winning. If you borrow my brain, you'll be like, dude, can't handle it. Unplug this buzzard. I'm on a drug called Charlie Sheen. When you get hooked to it, it'll melt your face and all that. I'm a total freaking rock star from Mars. Sorry, I get carried away when I do Charlie Sheen. Anyway, in the story, Angela finally had her sex change, became a woman, and started doing her killings once again. And this time she finally became one of the counselors. And this time she has respect to the camp. Except this time it's a different camp and not the same one. But sadly, most of the campers were being not so happy campers that she keeps killing them. And Molly almost survived until they left a cliffhanger where Angela was driving the truck and And Molly survived from that cliff she fell off. Angela thought she was dead, but it turns out she survived. And then Angela, driving her truck, saw Molly and says, "Hey Molly, good to see ya." And Molly screamed. And that was the end of Sleepaway Camp. And then all of a sudden they decided to strike again on doing a third adaptation. A third sequel. I mean, not adaptation, third sequel. And it was made back in 1989. Same year as my favorite Batman movie was made. Sleepaway Camp 3, Teenage Wasteland. In this one, Angela kills one of the teenagers who'd gone through rehab and took over her identity. But after she killed that rehab teenager, there was a spray paint wall saying, "Angela is back." Except this time she's going to a rehab camp. And this time she's going after a bunch of teenagers who've gone through rehab. So they're going through a teenage wasteland, which is a rehab camp. Help counselors have control against their addiction and such. But Angela, she cuts them one by one and kill them, as usual. And then they made another movie. Now, this one I heard, this fourth version, this one is unbelievable. What they did is they were filming this movie, but they couldn't finish it, so they just ended with cutscenes. This one is called Sleepaway Camp 4, The Survivor. In this one, it's recast. All you see is this girl called Allison. And this one was made in 1992. And what it is, it's just a movie. It just shows clips from the other movies, from the first, second, and third Sleepaway Camp scene. And of course, it's hinting that that Allison was Angela. But of course, all she's been doing is just sitting around in her hot bikini looking all hot, while there is a ranger and a hunter going after her. But this time they decided to bring back Felissa. They decided to bring back Felissa, who plays Angela, and also some of the old cast from the first Sleepaway Camp, and made this movie called Return of Sleepaway Camp. I had this movie on DVD. I did not like it. It wasn't all that good. They kept making a whole new story, and it was obvious that the police sheriff, was Angela in disguise, pretending to be a 40-year-old cop who has throat cancer, so he has this device to sound like this. And believe it or not, Vincent Pusto, you know, big wussy from Soprano, he's in this movie, and also Isaac Hayes. And this movie was made back in 2008. But it wasn't that good. Not that good at all. Man, it's getting pretty dark quick, so I need to wrap this up. Anyway, if you ask me, Sleepaway Camp, the first movie, was the best movie I've ever seen. And I advise you folks to check it out. And you can check out the sequels if you want. Well, that's my review of Sleepaway Camp. Any of you who liked it, please leave a comment down below, hit like and subscribe. And on my next review, Dracula is going to show up. Dracula found a franchise that he seemed to like, and he said he's going to be reviewing something involving monster girls. Even though I did tell him I did a review Monster Musume, and he said it's not Monster Musume, it's something really different. So I guess we'll check and see. So this is Michael A. Grimm, aka Multi-Voice Reviewer, telling you all, see you next time.